On May 9th, 2022, two of the most influential rappers in the industry today caught themselves in a scuffle with the feds. YSL rappers Young Thug and Gunna were arrested and slammed with RICO charges. The grave charges of racketeering, influenced and corrupt organizations, alongside an 88-page indictment levied against these rappers, may send them behind bars for a really long time. Young Thug and Gunna arrested. On Monday, May 9th, 2022, influential rappers Gunna and Young Thug broke headlines as the news of their arrest and 56 counts of RICO charges rocked the media. Rapper Young Thug was charged with conspiracy and street activity, according to court records. As seen in the indictment, rapper Young Thug was accused of conspiracy in 2013 under the state's Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, a law designed to combat organized crime and participation in criminal activity in 2018. The arrest, which rocked the media on the fateful Monday evening, included Young Thug and 28 other defendants. An 88-page indictment listed all the defendants in the case as well as the allegations against them. The indictment alleged that Young Thug was one of the founders of a Bloods-affiliated Young Slime Life, or YSL. Among the names listed in the 56-count indictment is rapper Gunna, who was also charged with conspiracy to violate RICO, Yachty, Pee Wee Roscoe, and Thug's brother, Funk, who were also indicted. The indictment defines YSL as a criminal street founded in 2012 with an affiliation with the Bloods.
But if we could put that on the order as well, it's no bond, risk to commit additional felonies as well. I appreciate your argument, Mr. Steele. Nobody does it better, but that's the order of the court. So any other issues on bond need to go in front of Judge Glanville down the road.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Very nice to see you. And again, to the people on the call supporting Mr. Williams, today means the world to him, and the court appreciates you being with us here today. Mr. Smith, anything else for the state?
Brian Steele, Young Thug's lawyer, said his client did not commit any crimes. He also added that he would do whatever it takes to clear Young Thug's name from the allegations levied against him. While all 28 defendants were charged with conspiracy to violate RICO, Thug and Gunna's fellow defendants face additional charges, including armed robbery, aggravated and weapons charges. Yachty and 4 others were charged with for the January 2015 death of Donovan Thomas Jr., who prosecutors describe as a rival member. Thug is also accused of renting a car, a 2014 Infiniti Q50 sedan from Hertz Rental Car Company, which was later used in the commission of the of Donovan Thomas Jr. There's a long section of the indictment titled Acts in Furtherance of the Conspiracy, which includes incidents between 2013 and 2022. Some are examples of crimes committed, including Pee Wee Roscoe's 2015 felony offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the time he reportedly shot at Lil Wayne's bus. Roscoe's conviction was overturned in 2018. Young Thug hires assassins. The 88-page indictment also charged Young Thug with a conspiracy to murder a prison inmate. The document stated that 2 of the Young Slime Life associates worked to get permission from Young Thug to make a second attempt to murder Lucci while he's in the Fulton County Jail. A tweet from a news reporter covering the case also served as proof of the allegations against Young Thug, as the reporter claimed that the prosecutors alleged the 2 inmates sought permission from Young Thug to commit. One of the men who, in fact, stabbed YFN Lucci, Christian Eppinger, is currently serving a 64-year sentence. One of his crimes involved a police officer 6 times while he was trying to evade capture. The officer was at Eppinger's home to arrest him as an arrest warrant was issued on his name. Eppinger reacted violently and started up an argument with the officer, which caused him to the officer. He was eventually caught and locked up behind bars after being sentenced for other charges against him. These new charges against him of conspiracy and attempted will no doubt add more time to his book. The other man involved, Antonio Sumlin, was also incarcerated for. How was YFN Lucci involved? Ever since Young Thug's arrest, YFN Lucci's name has come up a lot, and fans can't seem to understand why. It turns out that the long history of rap beef between YFN and YSL affiliation wasn't over, and the YSL was still out to get Lucci, even when he was locked up. According to the prosecutors and Young Thug's in his YSL crew's arrest, they believe that Young Thug allegedly gave the order to get YFN Lucci in prison twice. According to an incident report made available to the public, YFN Lucci was involved in a fight on February 9th, 2022 at the Fulton County Jail, where he and another inmate had sharp objects in their hands. During the altercation, Lucci allegedly yelled, "I feel like," which prompted the officer to tase the rapper with his taser gun. The other inmate was tased as well. Lucci suffered a laceration to the head during the fight, while the other inmate had a cut on his left palm. Both men received medical treatment and were cleared. However, after the fight, both Lucci and the inmate he fought with refused to offer a statement to jail officials about the incident. So, they were charged with fighting, interfering with security operations, weapon possession, and issuing threats. Little did Lucci know that his attack in February was only the first threat to his life in Fulton Jail. Later in March 2022, Lucci faced another threat, and this was even more life-threatening as he was fatally stabbed. On March 3rd, it was made public that Lucci filed court papers in an effort to get out of Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, where he awaits trial in his case. In the legal documents, Lucci claimed a fellow inmate at the facility stabbed him. Lucci alleged that he was attacked from behind while on a video call with an individual on the outside. Lucci claimed that the inmate stabbed him with a homemade shank. Furthermore, Lucci also maintained there's an alleged bounty on his head in the jail, and he fears for his life. His documents addressed to the judge were to ask the judge to grant him a bond so he could be released from jail and wait for his trial while on house arrest. Lucci's legal docs reportedly stated that he's willing to be on 24-hour home confinement and wear an ankle monitor if the judge grants him his release. Young Thug and Gunna denied bond. Barely 48 hours after rapper Young Thug was booked at Fulton County Jail, he made his first appearance before a virtual court to determine whether he would be released on bond. Unfortunately for the rapper, his bond application was denied. On Wednesday, May 11th, 2022, Young Thug was denied bond at a hearing following his Monday indictment that charged him with felony conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations RICO Act. At the Wednesday hearing, held virtually under the jurisdiction of Fulton County Magistrate Court, Judge Robert Wolf clarified that he could only rule on bond in the case of the 7 new felony charges, as the initial indictment is under the purview of Fulton County Superior Court.
Shall consider bond if the offense is not one that is bondable only by a Superior Court judge. I heard what you said as well, but the offense here is Mr. Williams is only indicted on count 56 and count 1, which is a criminal street activity and a conspiracy to commit racketeering. And both of those, I believe, are within your grasp to set bond, and I would like bond to be heard by your honor.
The state's prosecutor recommended that Young Thug be denied bond, arguing that he poses a flight risk due to his considerable resources. He also held that Young Thug poses a clear risk to hinder the administration of justice, as not all 28 of the men under the initial indictment have been apprehended.
We're still in the process of apprehending everyone on that larger indictment. Your Honor, it's the state's position that he is a flight risk, as well as there's a clear risk to hinder the administrations of justice. Your Honor, officers executed a search warrant at the home of Mr. Williams. They recovered large quantity of.
Defense attorney Brian Steele told the court that Young Thug had deep ties with the Atlanta community and therefore did not pose a flight risk, also recounting Young Thug's full compliance with the search of his home Monday, during which Steele was present.
He is not a flight risk. He has come back every single time from being anywhere located around this world. He would surrender his passport to me, although I believe law enforcement officers may have his passport, but if not, I will get that passport and I can surrender it to the sheriff, court, hold it myself, whatever the court states.
He further noted that Young Thug has never been convicted of a felony and implied that the open felony case against him stemming from and firearms found during a traffic stop also involving Gunna, one of the predicate acts listed in the RICO case, is all but dead in the water after 4 years. Finally, he referred to Young Thug's worldwide popularity, calling him the Babe Ruth of the musical industry. Based on these factors, he asked the court to grant Young Thug a signature bond, which does not require the deposit of any money or property as collateral. Judge Wolf, however, remained on the side of the state, denying Young Thug bond on the grounds of his flight risk and adding that he also would pose a risk of committing additional felonies if he were released, citing the 4-year-old open case. Steele argued that Wolf's ruling would set a precedent for the Superior Court to deny bond. Wolf disagreed. "I'm only making a decision today based on what's in front of me now," he said. Gunna, whose legal name is Sergio Giovanni Kitchens, faces only the broad strokes racketeering charge at this time. Judge Wolf mentioned during Young Thug's hearing that Gunna had appeared in his court earlier in the day and that his case was a different situation, as his sole charge falls under the initial indictment. Reports, however, claim that Gunna was denied bond Wednesday, May 11th. However, the reason for his bond denial was not on the substance of his case. The magistrate court judge agreed with prosecutors that in this instance, because the case has already been indicted, only the Superior Court judge to whom the RICO case has been assigned to has the authority to decide on bond. Otherwise, he said, absolutely I would consider bond on the merits of the case, but I don't have the authority to do it today. From the looks of it, Gunna could remain in jail a couple of weeks, as no date has been set for a bond hearing in the RICO case, either for Gunna or any of the other 26 defendants. Because of the huge size of the case, Gunna's attorneys, Donald F. Samuel, John A. Garland, and Kristen W. Nove, are worried it could be as late as into July before a hearing. Gunna's legal team is hoping to have the magistrate court judge hear bond at a sooner date. He said he would ask the Superior Court judge to authorize the magistrate court to hear the bond matter. The magistrate court judge indicated he would do so if he's authorized by the higher court judge. Gunna's charges are not as extensive as Young Thug's. According to the court records, he officially only faces 1 count of conspiracy to violate RICO, essentially being a member of the sprawling 88-page indictment only mentions Gunna, legal name Sergio Kitchens, a few times, most of them using his social media posts or song lyrics as evidence of membership. His lawyers have, however, argued that his songs shouldn't be used as evidence in his case. Samuel, Garland, and Nove also think it's wrong to use lyrics against both rappers. Some of Young Thug's lyrics included in the indictment include, "I his man in front of his mama, like little bruh, sister, and his cousin, and my trigger started itching." Gunna's concrete allegations in the indictment includes theft by receiving stolen property, possession of with intent to distribute, possession of with intent to distribute, and possession of with intent to distribute. These are alleged to be acts of racketeering activity and an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy, and qualify him for the felony offense, participation in criminal street activity. 11 Alive, the Atlanta news channel that first reported on Williams' hearing, also reports that Kitchens was denied bond in his initial hearing, clarifying that the judge had said he would absolutely consider bond based on the merits of the case, but that he doesn't have the authority to do so before the Superior Court makes his ruling. Young Thug and Gunna's previous arrest. Rappers Young Thug and Gunna are no strangers to indictment, in trouble with the feds as they have both found themselves in a similar situation in the past. Back in 2018, Young Thug was indicted on multiple charges stemming from a 2017 arrest in Brookhaven. Young Thug was arrested in September 2017 during a traffic stop. Brookhaven police pulled over a 2016 Mercedes-Benz Maybach on Claremont Road after suspecting that its tint was too dark. They arrested Young Thug, Gunna, and Jones after allegedly finding the men with and nearly $50,000 cash. According to online court records, Young Thug was charged in the DeKalb County case along with co-defendant Cedric Jones and rapper Sergio Gunna Kitchens. At the time, Young Thug's 8 felony charges involved various kinds of. He was accused of possessing with the intent to distribute and possession of a generic form. He was also charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Jones was accused of felony charges when indictments were handed down on August 30th. Gunna, who is an artist on Young Thug's YSL label, was accused of misdemeanor charges of window tint violation and possessing less than an ounce of